Hey, welcome to episode 19 of Bonfire Man.
Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutia, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough.
So last episode, we ended with rolling the Edgeville chunk, and there was a ton of stuff to do there, so I figured I'd split the episode. This one's going to begin with me cleaning up Cycle 23. So we've already done Edgeville and the Stronghold of Security, but I have to do everything else. And then we're going to roll a new chunk in this episode. So if you're not interested in seeing the task cleanup and just want to get to the chunk, there should be a timestamp in the description to skip to that. Okay, so I'm going to try to use ranged against any enemy that has an insignificant range defense bonus, because I need to get my range stat up, since I'm very close to running out of runes for future cycles. 34 ranged. Just going to try to get this as high as I can. Mining 36. This is quite nice. I didn't even think about this, but not only am I going to use the Skull Scepter here to get to Barbarian Village really quick, I've finished mining everything in the game and I want to start turning it into ores at the furnace in Edgeville. I can also use this to get out of my POH without needing to wait for the Lumbridge Home Teleport cooldown, so I should be able to keep this charged with charges. I can't do any of the diaries to increase the number of charges it has, but assuming I'm killing flesh crawlers and minotaurs every cycle, I should be able to get at least 3 charges per cycle, I think. Hopped into the lumberyard and started chopping trees, and I was like, wait, I don't have to do this. First time outside of the Varrock Ditch that I haven't had to chop trees. I'm going to go over to Silvaria, though, and kill the bats and cut the trees there. Probably need to grab a pickaxe, actually, before I do that. I'm still going to go ahead and chop the yew trees, since I have such little access to yew trees right now. I don't know when that's going to matter, but it might eventually. And I guess technically I can stand at those yew trees until they deplete, so... Well, I've been doing this, chop the thing until it depletes with this yew tree. This might actually finally be a source of AFK for me as I unlock more of these chunks that have things like yew trees in them. I've been at this for a few minutes. I only have, 6 logs, but that's a lot for me. So... yeah, maybe I can actually try to start getting some video editing done during the cycle when I'm depleting. There, finally I depleted one. I've got 2 more to deplete. Got a bird nest with seeds in it before this thing depleted, and it's another acorn. That's really exciting once I get some secateurs. Well, my inventory filled up on this yew tree here. I don't think I need to make a rule that I'm not allowed to bank and come back to the tree if it doesn't finish exhausting, because the whole reason for having that with Karam wands and pure essence is that they will never deplete, but this tree will deplete eventually. This is actually pretty good woodcutting XP too. This isn't my actual XP per hour, because that's included all the regular trees I've been chopping. Maybe I'll reset to see what it is with just the yews, but yeah, I'm curious. I might even be able to get some editing done just based on the yew trees in the lumberyard chunk and the ham chunk, now that those are complete. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, because who knows if I could go in there and chop all 3 of them and have them deplete the instant I touch them. Or I could be there for 30 minutes. Wow, so AFK, I got disconnected. I still haven't finished chopping that second tree. And yeah, it's pretty good XP per hour compared. I usually get 10k for chopping random trees everywhere. Finally, stumped this thing. Almost 2 full inventories of yew logs. It's pretty great. All right, I got 1 more to chop down in the corner over there. So we'll move on to Silvaria. All right, and there's the last tree reduced to a stump. So that one didn't last quite as long as the other ones. I go ahead and finish up Silvaria over here, kill these bats. All right, while I'm in the area, I'm going to go do Earth Altar stuff. I did remember, finally, to bring the Binding Necklace this time. Just made dust runes, got us to 17 runecraft. Go ahead and mark those complete here. Be doing mud runes of the Water Altar. Here comes 62 woodcutting. Oh, and by 62 I mean 61. I can now use a dragon axe. I don't know, do I care about any level ups for woodcutting now that we can do yew trees? I think the answer is no. Soluceps maybe, magic trees maybe, but I'm so far from either of those that I don't think it's going to matter for a really long time. Okay, rune crafting real quick. I do have my binding necklace making mist runes. Gets us to runecraft 18, which does nothing. I think I can make all of the rune types today if I get a level up from the mud runes. I'm not sure if I'm going to, though. I'm going to do that next. Actually, I might get the level up from fire runes if I pop over to do that really quick if the mud runes don't get me there. Alright, here come the mud runes. Oh, I got me really close to a level up. I'm going to have to pop over to the fire altar, though. That should get me to 19, and then I can do steam runes for the first time, which means I'll be able to mark the water altar as complete now. I'm still going to try to make as many runes there as I can per cycle, because I need to get as much runecraft XP as I can. But it'll be nice to have another, chunk mark complete. Alright, this should be 19 runecraft. You can now make steam runes, and you get 2 water runes from each essence, but I wouldn't have gotten it. I guess I'm going to go ahead and make my smoke runes because I still have an air talisman. And then I'll head back and make the steam runes, and then we'll get back to woodcutting, I think. Alright, here's smoke runes without me screwing them up this time. Not enough for a full level. Steam runes will get me to 20 though, I think. So a long way to go till 35. I'm realizing now that if I can get Enter the Eye, that would be amazing, because I can do the new runecraft minigame once per cycle. But in order to do that quest, I'm going to have to be able to do Enter the Abyss, which is up here. So I think this is my new number 1 chunk to roll. If I can get this chunk, that would be amazing. Okay, and here are my first ever steam runes. Runecraft level 20. You can now craft body runes, which would be another interesting chunk to roll. That's adjacent to us over here. That's also where the Pride event continues, so it would be nice to be able to do that before it goes away. That's probably my second highest chunk now. Yeah, so the water altar, I'm going to go ahead and mark that as all stars. It is complete. I've done everything here. I'm still going to try to do as much as I can every cycle, but technically don't have to now if I didn't want to. Oh, force of habit, I started chopping trees here in the ham hideout chunk. I don't have to. I'm so happy.
Hey, it's Future Marstead here. I actually made a really big mistake with the ham hideout chunk. Nothing we can't fix due to the format of the account. It's quite fixable, but I missed somehow that Lost City starts in this chunk, in the ham hideout chunk, and not in the Lumbered Swamp West chunk. Lots of potential explanations for how I missed it. The quest actually starts really close to the border with the Lumbered Swamp chunk. There's the fact that there are 2 quests that start with the word Lost, Lost City and Lost Tribe, that both heavily involve the ham hideout chunk. I think I got those confused a couple times. And also the fact that this was the second chunk I ever rolled, so I don't think I'd had a system yet for establishing all of the tasks. But regardless, I did screw it up. Thank you very much to Lidak for pointing this out in the comments on the previous video. Fixing this issue is going to take a while, because we're going to have to wait until I actually do complete the ham hideout chunk. So when the chunk is actually completed, then I'm not allowed to deplete the yew trees there for some number of cycles equal to the number of cycles I was depleting them in error, if that makes sense. So short version, I'll fix it. I don't think it's a huge impact to the account. The yew logs that I have in excess aren't going to make or break the account. I don't even think I'm going to be able to do anything with those yew logs for hundreds of hours anyway. I'm just so gracious that Bonfire Man is fixable in this way. While I've got your attention here, some people have been commenting about how far ahead I am, that the last video you saw, episode 18, was several months ago. Let me reiterate that it is taking way longer than a week to do a cycle now, and so those videos are going to catch up. I tried to stagger them like this on purpose because I knew it would catch up eventually. We might get to a point where the cadence has to change to where I'm only posting a video every other week or something, but they'll continue to be weekly for some time until it does catch up. Okay, back to the playthrough.
I'm just going to chop those yew trees again. There are 4 here, so I could either be here for a minute or 40 minutes if it's anything like the other yew trees. Here's the life split timer, by the way. We're almost done chopping trees. I have a couple more chunks to do. I got to do the Lumbridge Swamp East and West and Lumbridge proper, and I think I can move on to PDM. No drop of the Lesser Demon. Amazing. I just got a steel bar from the Black Knight. I needed that steel bar because I have 13 in the bank, so now I have 14, and I can make another thing at the Giant's Foundry for money. Very lucky. So range 35. I'm working on training it again. Let's see how far I can get at this episode. Alright, I'm here to kill cave crawlers. Now that I have enough Slayer level for them, I'm going to try to safe spot them if I can. First ever cave crawler. Potato seeds. Okay. Look at their drop table. I don't think it's anything crazy exciting. Bronze boots would be kind of cool, I guess. Nature runes, seeds. Lots of herbivore secondaries, which aren't going to matter for a long time. Alright, try to kill the other ones. Kill all 3 of them, and the third one dropped nothing, so that's cool. Did our first ever cave crawler kills. Mark that complete. We'll get cave slimes soon, I think. 36 ranged. See if we can make it to 40 today. I'm putting off construction training this cycle, so I'm going to go ahead and do some really quick. I need to teleport home anyway. I'm going to have to get more nails soon. I'm worried that I'm going to bend more of these nails than I have planks. Maybe I can stick to things that only cost 2 planks at a time. Cat basket, I guess? 853 construction XP, I guess that includes that stash from earlier. Not enough for a level. I think levels are about to get real slow. But I've marked everything that I've made so far, and we'll come back later in the cycle. It's 37 ranged. I think we will hit 40. Oops, I screwed something up with coming off meat there. 38 ranged. Hopefully I fixed that in editing. 39 prayer. I need to bury a lot of bones before we get to 43. I have the calculator here. Let's see, 43, no altar. Regular bones, 3,709, so many cycles to go. Total level 750 though, that's kind of cool. Buying some more nails over here to help with construction. Bought a total of 850 so far. Alright, heading back in my POH really quick to train construction. I just picked up some planks. Here comes 26 construction. Can I make an oak armchair? And these are the things. Upgrade to tool store 2. This means I can now get an infinite number of buckets, spades, tinderboxes, and knives. I haven't decided whether I'm able to take an infinite number of tools from the tool stores. I guess the keyword is infinite, so the answer is probably no. Should I be able to take more than 1 per cycle? I can't pretend like construction training doesn't still suck in this mode, but in Bonfire, man, it's a lot nicer to only build 1 of each thing, right? Than keep removing the same object and build on top of it over and over. Here comes 27 construction. Build a league hall, pump and tub, oak chest of drawers. Oh, easy stash units, that's cool. Guess that's another thing. So being able to build the stash units is actually nice. So I'm thinking the only other thing I can get from construction is getting to 35, but I'll take that. That's pretty good. Hit 39 ranged. I don't know if 40 is gonna happen anymore. I don't really have that many enemies to kill, but we'll get there soon. It's not that 40 is a particularly helpful level anyway, since I can't get a U short bow for a really long time. I have to have like 65 fletching. About to get a farming level up here. Farming 19, Conquer Terranin. Alright, here comes 12 Slayer. Feels so nice to actually be able to train Slayer. Kind of surprised. I don't think I've seen too many restricted accounts that have been able to actually train this skill, traditionally. Alright, turning in our first sword. This one's bronze and iron. Kind of a shitty mold. 8,040 coins, 4,020 smithing XP. Now 47 smithing. I can make Shazian supply boots 1. 50 is the next exciting smithing level up. I got enough to do at least 1 more commission. I might do 2 and do one that's pretty much just all bronze. We'll see. Getting really bad luck with molds at the moment, sadly. I'm actually doing okay on Foundry reputation. 864 so far. I've been here for how many cycles? I might be able to use that to calculate how long I should expect. 19, so like 4 cycles is enough to get us there. means it's possible I'll get the Colossal Blade, but I'm wondering if it makes more sense for me to pick up some of these better molds once I'm able to make them. The first mold I'm able to make is at level 48 smithing, which is our next level up. The question is, how long does it take for a mold purchase to pay for itself? I think mold purchases are pretty good, especially when you're using them with like bronze bars, because they give you way more money and quality and XP overall. So I think I probably will get the mold purchases if they're optimal for some number of commissions. Right, handing in my second sword. This one was mostly bronze, so not so great. Almost 48 smithing. All right, that's the dream. 22 and 22 is about as good as I can get with the default molds here. Here's my last sword hand in for the cycle. That was pretty good. 6690 smithing XP, 13,380 coins. I'll go ahead and see what my next commission is, I guess. Narrow spiked. Smithing level 48. Do steel plate bodies. I could also actually buy a... Oof, yeah. I was thinking I'm only ever going to buy a mold if it's optimal for a commission that I currently have, and this one actually is. It's the one thing it's optimal for. Flamberge Blade. It's optimal for narrow spiked, because it's a much larger increase in relative quality than it appears to be. This is like plus 10 quality whenever I get this particular commission, so yeah, I hate to take away reputation points because it's potentially slowing the rate at which I get the Colossal Blade, but I think if I'm gonna take it, I gotta take it earlier. Yeah, screw it. I might regret this when I'm 300 points short of the Colossal Blade, but let's get it. I can't actually make anything here, but I'll go ahead and set it up, I guess. Yeah, that'll be my best ever blade for next time. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do another construction trip here. First time building a rope bell pull. I got tons of ropes. They're not really worth any XP. They let me use more oak planks per cycle. Let's hire a servant from the Servants Guild in Arduin. First time building oak drawers. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'll show you anytime I'm building something for the first time, but then you can assume I'm going to do that once per cycle after that. All right, that might be as far as I can take things this cycle. 2,842 construction XP. Levels are getting real slow now. Just hit 28 thieving, which if we get to the Isle of Souls is an interesting level. I don't think I'm too excited about thieving levels for a little while until we get to 40, I think, for guards. Let me double check. I guess Master Farmer is at 38. I can pickpocket 2 of those. And then I think guards at 40 is the really exciting one, so it's going to be a while. I don't show this graphical review of the chunks I'm working on too often, but I pretty much just have these Varrock chunks remaining. 40 ranged. Green Dragonhide armor, U-bows, rune-throwing weapons, ranger boots, and the Robin Hood hat. It's a lot that happens at 40 ranged, apparently. I just can't do any of that. On my last task of the cycle here, killing this final moss giant. So I haven't gotten a mossy key. That would be really nice. Okay, I think I've completed all tasks. Here's the live split timer. 15 and a half hours. It's quite a bit faster than last cycle because I didn't have to do all of the Stronghold of Security. That took a really, really long time, but still a bit of a spike from the cycle before that. I think previously we were looking at like 9 hours, maybe 10 hours, maybe 11 hours, and we're already up to like 15 and a half just from rolling a couple enemy PVM dense chunks. So hopefully those will get faster as my stats and gear get better. Let's go ahead and review the tasks here. I'm just going to scroll through them silently. As usual, there should be a time code to skip to the chunk roll if that's what you'd like to see. All right, scrolling now. Skip the ham hideout. I did the use there, but I didn't kill any of the enemies. I did the stuff in the ham cult area underground though, because it's not done. Stronghold of Security, I ended up just doing flesh crawlers, goblins, minotaurs. I did kill a handful of zombies just because it's really hard not to in the rooms with the flesh crawlers. I think it was like 10 zombies that I killed, and I think I killed like 1 giant rat. All right, that's everything there. Let's look at the loot tracker, do a slow scroll here. I did make one mistake here. I accidentally killed an extra Al-Kharid warrior. Point that out really quick. Yeah, I killed 10 rather than 9. So I'm just going to kill one fewer next cycle. But here's a slow scroll. Lots of earth talismans, which is really good. No air talismans, which is really bad. Okay, supplies used. I think that arrow count includes arrows that fell on the ground that I picked back up. So, but the rune count is real. We're getting really low on runes. I'm trying to start working on including range training so that we can still kill things that need to be safe spotted. I think we have enough to probably get us through the enemies that I absolutely have to mage in the next cycle. But it's getting pretty rough right now. Hours played so far, total 7 days, 16 hours. Here's the XP totals that we gained. It's nice to actually get some Slayer XP. Hopefully we get another good task after the Hill Giant task completes, but I think we have a couple cycles before that's going to be the case. Looking at the bank, new items, some vials of water, cave crawler drops, a lobster, an sold minotaur head, the imbued skull scepter. I'm going to try to only use these if I'm pretty sure I'm not going to die, because you have to go back and get them again if you die. Another acorn, an apple tree seed, which would be nice if we find a fruit tree patch, a mushroom spore, and a wild blood seed. And rocks are from failing to chisel limestone brick successfully. So not a lot of new items this time. I guess the brass key is kind of cool. All right, and reviewing the full bank. Yeah, I might have to kill the goblins early next cycle to hopefully get some more air talismans so I can keep doing combination runes. I need at least 3. Yeah, there's the bank. I think that's everything. Let's go ahead and roll the new chunk. Hey folks, so I'm doing my normal sanity check maintenance to set up for the next cycle, and I noticed that I forgot to kill 2 dark wizards, which must be the ones in Draenor Village, because they weren't in my loot tracker, and I missed a single mugger. So I'm going to clean those up really quick before I go to the next chunk and light the bonfire. Right, I forgot. The missing mugger is the one down here in the ham hideout chunk, so I'm not going to bother. I just need to update my spreadsheet to account for the fact that I'm going to be skipping him from now on. What I shouldn't be skipping, though, is raking this patch, so I'm going to do that real fast. Yeah, I imagine a bit of a post-chunk roll error correction is going to become a staple now of this series, because there's just so many things for me to accidentally miss. So you like me see me announce that I'm going to roll a chunk and then immediately do some cleanup like this. All right, those are my missing Dark Wizard kills. Didn't really matter. 2 extra bones, 10 air runes, and a wizard hat. Let's go ahead and finish the chunk roll here. Okay, here's the chunk roller. I'll zoom in here in a second, but just kind of to summarize, made a few changes here. We've got the new chunks surrounding Edgeville, the monastery I would like. It lets us do the Wise Old Man task, and there's a handful of other interesting things there, so I wouldn't be mad if we got that one. This is my #1 most wanted chunk now, which sounds funny because who cares? It's a Wilderness Ditch chunk, but this will let me do Enter the Abyss, and Enter the Abyss will let me do the Runecraft minigame, Guardians of the Rift, which is going to massively increase the amount of Runecraft XP we can get per cycle. And it's also a prerequisite for a bunch of other things, so I really hope we get this one. As much as the rest of the chunk will be boring, it'll be really, really good. Also, I guess having access to the Battle Runes shop would be nice, since we've recently run out of runes at Aubrey. But everything else is stuff I've already covered. Ruins of Unka would still be really great. I want to get the fishing rod and the other stuff that's down there. And I would be pretty happy if we rolled Paterdomus over here, so we can get into Mauritania. Also, I guess this is extra important now. Priest in Peril is a prerequisite for, what is it? Animal magnetism. But I guess a lot of things is a prerequisite for animal magnetism, so maybe that's not going to be happening anytime soon. Anyway, I think you've already heard me talk about this. Let's go ahead and roll a chunk here. Big money. No whammies. Oh, God. That's a bad roll. I had that as a skull. There's a bank here, I guess. And eventually I'm going to have the ability... I guess there's a spirit tree here. I guess technically I can get to Keldagrim eventually. I don't think I can do that right away, though. It's not as bad as I had called it out as being before. But it's still not great. I guess if we ever get around to finishing the Varrock Medium Diary, it would be nice to be able to teleport here because it's a really convenient bank teleport. But it's going to be kind of a boring roll there.
Hey, it's Future Marsted again. So you might remember from a few episodes ago, I introduced this idea of boring chunks. This was the rule I should have used for the duel arena forever ago. But the concept is if you roll a chunk where there are no new exhaustible objects and you can complete the chunk right away, then you can skip lighting the bonfire, just go in and complete the chunk, and then roll another chunk. This is a really necessary rule. If we don't have this, a good percentage of the chunks in RuneScape are empty in this way or boring in this way, and the playthrough would not be completable within 10,000 hours. This was the chunk that made me reevaluate all of the empty chunks in the game and realize that this was a necessary rule change. So while I'm disappointed about it right now, it's actually not a big deal. You're going to get another roll real soon.
Well, let's go ahead and do it. I'll see ya. Hey folks, so while setting things up for this new Grand Exchange chunk, it occurred to me that we're probably going to have to make a chunk rolling rule change here. Hopefully I edited this into a prior episode, so you were already expecting this, but this is the time where I'm actually making this decision. As we've said, the rules for this account need to be a little bit flexible because nobody's ever done this before, and it's hard to say, just from a theory crafting perspective, how long things are actually going to take and whether this account is even mathematically probable. I think the rule change makes sense, though, and I don't think you're going to be mad about it because you're going to get to see more content sooner. So here's the issue. Looking at the chunk map and just looking at the map of RuneScape in general, while most surface chunks in RuneScape are interesting and have new kinds of content in them, there are many, we won't call them dead or empty chunks, but there are chunks that are boring, that there's nothing new to do in them, I think is the key phrase. So the Grand Exchange isn't empty. There are 43 trees there and 3 oaks and some wheats and some items we can pick up. But other than that, it's nothing that's new to this account. We've chopped trees before, we've chopped oaks before, we've picked up wheat before, and so on. So if we look at a normal chunk account, not a Bonfire Man account, a feature that they enjoy is that if they've already accomplished a high level in an earlier chunk, they still have that level later on and kind of let them skip difficult tasks in later areas. So for example, for a typical chunk account, if they roll the Ham Hideout chunk, now they have to deal with a tree patch there, right? And it's going to be a big pain in the ass for them to be able to plant anything in that tree patch. But if later they roll the other tree patch outside Varrock, that second tree patch is going to be way less of a pain. It's not going to be a pain at all because they've already reached the necessary farming levels to plant things there. And I think some kind of booster to chunk rolling is going to be necessary for this account to work. Now, I should have made this rule probably when we rolled the Duel Arena chunk. I lucked out with the Duel Arena that I couldn't light a fire there, so I was able to argue that I shouldn't have to complete all the past chunks when we rolled it. And then after Duel Arena, I probably should have made this rule again when we rolled the Varrock Ditch chunk. But at the time that we rolled that chunk, the time that it took to complete all past chunks wasn't terribly high yet. Just as a reminder, here's what the Varrock Ditch chunk looks like. There's 7 giant rats, which I'd already killed, 61 dead trees that I had already chopped in the past, a regular tree, 2 oak trees, and 2 item spawns that I had picked up before. So in theory, I could have applied this to the Varrock Ditch episode, and that's probably what I'm going to edit in to give you a heads up that this rule change is coming. So here's the idea of the rule change. If we roll a new chunk and we generate the task list here in the goal tracker, if there are any new tasks that we've never done before, so that means if there are any new enemies, any new trees that we've never chopped before, new kinds of trees, like if we rolled a chunk with a magic tree, for example, new kinds of item spawns that we haven't had access to before. If there's anything new, then there is no rule change. Regardless of how boring the chunk is, we still have to do it right away and also do all of the past chunks in order to roll the next chunk. However, if we roll a new chunk and there's nothing new in it, if all of the tasks in that chunk are tasks that we've done before and already have access to, and if when we roll the new chunk, we can immediately clear it, so we can actually 100% complete it and do all of the tasks. If both of those are true, then we still need to do the chunk, but we don't have to light a bonfire in the chunk, so we don't have to refresh all of the tasks in previous areas. So the short version of all of that is that I'm going to go to the Grand Exchange. We're going to pass the fog wall, but we're not going to light a bonfire because all of these tasks are old. We've gotten a wheat task before. We've gotten body and earth rune spawns before. We've chopped oak trees and regular trees. We're going to do all of that, and then we're going to roll another chunk, and then depending on what we get there, then we'll, light a bonfire. I think this is going to be an extremely necessary rule for this account to be mathematically probable. I wasn't thinking this when we did the Varrock Ditch chunk because it still felt like the time to do past chunks was reasonable, but as it's climbing now to 12, 15, 20 hours, depending on which chunks we roll, I'm getting increasingly worried that it might not be mathematically possible to do this if we don't allow for skipping like this. Alright, so since this Grand Exchange chunk has nothing new in it, we've done all these things before, I am not going to be lighting a bonfire, so everything else is going to remain exhausted. We do have to do everything in the Grand Exchange chunk in order to roll another chunk, so I'm going to head over there really quick and we're going to chop all these trees and pick up all this wheat and all that fun stuff. And we'll move through the fog wall, of course. Alright, here we are at the chunk boundary and the fog wall. Let's go ahead and cross through here. Nice. Okay, this is the Grand Exchange, and because I'm choosing to not light a bonfire here, that means I can't go back and do any of the other tasks in old chunks. I can't go do things in my player-owned house, because that stuff is all technically still exhausted, or I've already built one of everything that I'm allowed to build. All I can do here is complete these new tasks, the trees, the oaks, the wheat, and the items, so I'm going to do that. And you can see I unlocked the music track, so I had not been in here before. So I think there's one annoying tree on the outskirt of the wall here. By the way, this yellow underwall tunnel is an agility shortcut that doesn't generate XP. I actually didn't realize that it was an agility shortcut because it's not even mentioned on the chunk picker. But since it doesn't generate XP, it doesn't count as an exhaustible task because there's nothing to exhaust. Alright, yeah, there's these two annoying trees on the other side of the wall. And the earth rune pickup. Trees are done, items are done. Now we just have to go pick up 38 wheat, which is fortunately pretty close to a bank. I got most of the wheat picked there. I think I can get the rest of it on the next pass, and then we'll be done. And here's the last piece of wheat. There we go, 38 total. And we're done. I'll mark this as triple star, and we're just gonna go ahead and right away roll another new chunk here. So real quick, this isn't listed in the chunk picker because I think it's relatively new. This is June of 2022, and this got added pretty recently. But there's a way to queue into Castle Wars from here. Now I have no idea how it works, and I don't want to mess around with it on this account lest it plunk me in the actual Castle Wars chunk, which is very far from here. But what I think I'm going to do, well, I'll test it on my main account real quick. Hold on. Hey, this is me logged into my main account really quick just to test this. So I'll report how it works. Don't panic, this is my main account, even though I'm clearly in the region locker is still running here. So yes, I can use that join Castle Wars feature to get to this chunk, and I can freely get back out of this chunk afterward. So I can infinitely home teleport and then infinitely use the Castle Wars lobby at the Grand Exchange. So I think this becomes a legally rollable chunk based on my rules, which is interesting because it's really far from here. Yeah, so I'm glad I tested that on the main. I'm going to go back to my bonfire account now. Right, so since this lets me go to Castle Wars, I think in order to be able to interact with them, I have to roll that as a legal chunk. So I'll add it to the list of rollable chunks here. Okay, we're back in the chunk picker. I wanted to point out I didn't zoom out far enough on the previous roll, but this was already selected, the Isle of Souls, because we have access to it via the Edgeville teleport. We just didn't happen to roll it. We rolled the Grand Exchange instead. So I've added Castle Wars because we can technically get there now, and I've added the Isle of Souls a couple ago, and I should probably mark what I want to do with these. I think that I would like the Isle of Souls. This first starting tile isn't particularly amazing. There's some moss giants there and 101 trees. But what is amazing is everything else on the Isle of Souls. So if we can roll that, that would be really nice. And I gave a general thumbs up to Castle Wars. The actual Castle Wars chunk is much more boring than the Isle of Souls, as are most of the things adjacent to it. But just getting to a new area, I think, is a general positive, especially since it gets us closer to like the Tree Gnome Stronghold and Arduin and the like. So I would not be mad to roll that one. But we already went through my desires around chunks other than those two, so let's go ahead and roll and see what we get. East Varrock Gate. Okay, I had this as a general thumbs up. I can get to all of this, technically. This is just going to be convenient because it's really annoying whenever I want to bank from this chunk down here or from the lumberyard. I have to go all the way around into Varrock, and just not having to do that anymore is going to be nice. Not a lot of monsters here. Don't think any of these NPCs are terribly exciting. Yeah, I guess there's a tea stall, which is interesting. I can actually mark the East Varrock mine chunk as complete now because I'm going to be able to finally get down into this corner and kill those. Oh, no, I can't because of what lies below. Right. I will be able to once I get to 35 rune crap, but we got a ways to go on that. Big site specimen rocks. Yeah, so there's new stuff here, so we're not going to be skipping this chunk. Also looks like we can start Family Crest here, which is shockingly close to being doable. I mean, it looks close. It actually isn't, because we're really far away from all of these other chunks. I didn't realize that I needed this chunk for Temple of the Eye. Well, that's good. We still need the Abyss for it. Soulsbane I think we can do right away. I don't think it's got particularly amazing rewards. Oh, the Rift is going to unlock, though, and that's going to suck, because none of the enemies in there drop anything. Well, I guess since they don't drop anything, they're all critters, so they're all optional, but I am going to have to kill them all at least once to mark the chunk complete. Okay, well, I'm going to review everything that's in this chunk. It's going to be a lot more interesting than the Grand Exchange, and we're not going to be skipping it because there's nothing to skip. There's new stuff to do here, like the tea stall, so I'll be back once I get everything reset and set up here. Okie dokie, folks, I've got the East Varrock Gate chunk set up. Let's go ahead and go through the fog wall and light the bonfire. All right, here we are at the chunk boundary. We go ahead and cross over here. Awesome. And let's go ahead and light the bonfire. Fantastic. Okay, and let's rest at it. Everything is now respawned. Beautiful. Okay, so while this chunk is a little boring, lots of stuff we've seen before, trees, that kind of a thing. I guess the tea stall is new and the Soulsbane is new. I'm excited to have this unlocked because it's been so annoying to have to walk around this chunk every single time to get to this bank. So it'll be nice as a convenience thing. It's another quest, so more quest points gets us more progress overall. I can now kill all of the rats in this chunk finally. I still can't do what lies beneath, so I can't call the East Varrock mine chunk complete, sadly, but we will whenever we get to 35 runecraft. I'm going to poke about here, though. I think I'll probably get the trees out of the way first, since there's quite a lot of them. I gotta go the long way around to get to these trees over here. I may as well just chop everything on this side while I'm over here, since I gotta walk all the way around anyway. Okay, finished cutting all the trees here. Looks like there is another way for me to get out of here that I didn't think about, just popping into the Silvaria chunk, so I guess I'll do that instead. Let's go kill these guards. I can't clean fines. I'll steal from the tea stall, and then we'll do a Soul's Bane. I'm over here quickly cooking up some stew for a Soul's Bane, and I hit cooking 44. It's stopping real quick at the apothecary to buy an anti-poison since I can't make them myself yet. Never used this service before. I guess this is pretty common for free-to-play players, though. Kadava Berry, Limpert Root, 5 coins. 1 anti-poison, which hopefully should get us through the quest. Okay, starting the Soul's Bane. This is going to be annoying. It's a fairly long quest, lots of things to kill, no interesting drops or anything like that. Such an odd and, like, tonally dissonant quest. Finished up the first floor. I think it gets easier from there. I kind of like this, like, jump scare part. It's so weird and serious for RuneScape, but I should do a sequel to this quest. I think these guys do give XP when you fight them in the Rift later. They just don't drop anything, so I am going to have to clear the entire post-quest Rift one time. They are technically critters, so they're skippable under any circumstances, but I'd like to just mark the chunk as complete, so once we finish the quest, I'll come right back in and kill everything once. Alright, we're on the confusion floor. I think these ones can poison me during this phase of the quest. I think when I come back later, they lose the ability to poison. Just hit strength 59. That's a new max hit, so I'm going to keep going for 3 more levels so that I can switch to something else and maintain the max hit. Alright, on to this room, which is a little frustrating. You have to kill all of them 3 times. Alright, finish the hopeless floor. I'm a little worried about Tolna, because you get hit a lot. I'm not very high level, and my healing's not very good, but I'm going to do my best here. Alright, here we go. I'm just doing it with melee. I guess that's fine. If I kill one of them early, that should help. Build a fast melee head should slow things down a bit here, hopefully. Second head's down, I think we're good. It's a little scary because you have to eat a lot since it's multi-combat and they're all hitting you at the same time, but looks like I had enough food after all. Alright, complete. We're about to get the quest complete pop-up formally. It's really bad for the amount of time it takes to do this. I think you get more hit points XP just from killing the stuff in here than you get from the quest reward, amusingly. There it is. Soul's Bane, quest complete. 500 defense XP, 500 hit points XP. Incredible. Alright. Well, that's nice, though, because it's more quest points, and we need more of those to do quests, so I will take it. I still have food on me, and nothing in there drops anything, so I may as well go downstairs and start working on killing these. I went ahead and added a new section here in the gold tracker for Tolna's Rift. So we got to kill 2 angry bears, 2 angry giant rats, 2 angry goblins, 2 angry unicorns, and then 9 fear reapers, 11 confusion beasts, and 11 hopeless creatures. So I'll report back once that's done. Nothing here drops anything, but the angry giant rats inexplicably drop 1 bone. Okay. Make things funnier, I just killed an angry giant rat and it didn't drop any bones. So it's like a chance to drop bones? The wiki says it's guaranteed, but I definitely killed it, and I assure you no one else has killed it. I didn't get the Iron Man pop-up. Alright, goblins are done, bears are done. I think we're done in this corner here. I'm gonna head over to the fear reapers, I guess. Alright, reapers are about to be done. I'm gonna leave soon to get more food. I've used up all my stews here. Started recording way too early there. Fear reaper, done. Alright, confusion beasts and hopeless creatures. Ugh, confusion beasts are gonna be annoying, as are the hopeless creatures. Level 63 and level 71. This is kind of like Stronghold of Security levels that I'm having to deal with. They hit really hard and they drop nothing. At least they don't poison you anymore. Alright, here's our last confusion beast. Nice. Mark those guys done, and we just have the hopeless creatures now, which might be a little nasty because they are level 71. Yeah, fortunately, these hopeless creatures actually die when you kill them the first time. You don't have to kill them 3 times each, so that helps a little bit. 10 more to go. Alright, on my last hopeless creature. Hopefully I can finish it off before it kills me. They hit for like 6s and 7s, which is pretty nasty. Got it. That's the last one. Awesome. Alright, Tolna's Rift is complete. I guess I could have skipped this every single cycle on the argument that everything down here is a critter, but I wanted to go ahead and actually mark it triple star, so we'll do that now. And we got a couple guards to kill. We got to rob a tea stall, oops, and pick up some item spawns, and then we're done with this new cycle. And by new cycle, I mean new chunk. We're not done with the cycle. I still got to go back and do everything else in earlier areas. All right, so there's some tea here to pick up. Oh, I guess that's not an actual spawn. No kidding. Okay, well then I have to steal from the tea stall. Easy task complete. That's the one time I can do this cycle. I'm gonna check out some of the shops down here. I might switch. I think I can get a new cape from one of the shopkeepers down there, so be nice to change up styles now that we have access to new content. All right, yeah, yellow cape is technically new, so I'm gonna buy that from the fancy clothes store. I'm also gonna buy out his stock of thread, because that's hard to come by. Don't think I want anything else from him right now, but I'll add these to my tracker here. A yellow cape, looking nice, looking different. Probably hold on to that one until we get access to a new interesting cape. Oh, right, I was able to start Family Crest. I don't have the stats for it, though. I need 40 mining, 59 magic, and 40 crafting, none of which are going to happen anytime soon. Also, I don't have any of the zones. I think I need Witch Haven and Catherby and stuff. But it's still cool to be able to start a quest, I guess. So I've technically had access to this entire area for some time, because this is all part of the Varrock East Mine chunk. That's where the 2 extra giant rats are missing. I don't think there's anything else here, though. Let me check. Yeah, I think the only other real reason to come down here is for biohazard and rat catchers. Neither quest I can do right now, so... yeah, I get to kill 2 extra rats, and I guess pet the dog that can wander down here. Alright, well, we're officially done with the newest chunk of East Varrock Gate. I can't pickpocket the guards, I can't clean finds until dig site, I can't do Family Crest. So now it's just time to do everything else. I'm gonna go ahead and collapse anything like the Grand Exchange that's done. I think I'm gonna start with chopping trees and mining, and maybe doing, because I can knock out runecraft. I already did earth runes, here comes some dust runes. It's as close to level 21 runecraft, it's getting real slow now. Alright, here comes 37 mining. Trying to knock this out before we do woodcutting. There it is. Just teleported from the Lumbridge Swamp Mine. It's so nice having this Skull Scepter. Should be able to keep it charged, I'm hoping. It's convenient we got the Grand Exchange unlocked, because I can walk through this little pathway now instead of having to go all the way around. Fletching 44. Don't think I care about fletching for a while, but I'm going to keep fletching things just to get inventory space. This is a little silly, but now that I have the Grand Exchange chunk unlocked, I can actually chop this tree that was inaccessible to me before. Just finished my chopping to depletion yew trees in the Umberlard. This is my total payoff for it, so I didn't get more than 1 full inventory this time, but still pretty good. I got a bird nest with a ring in it. Ruby rings are great. You get them for free. It's an emerald ring. That's okay, it's still nice to get that for free. I might make a dual arena teleport at some point, and it would certainly be nice if we actually unlock that Castle Wars chunk to be able to have jewelry teleports to it. So I'll take it. Here's hit points 55. Pretty good level there. I'm banking from the East Varrock chunk, and I gotta say, this is the dream here, that I can just walk through here to get to the bank instead of going all the way around South Varrock. Hooray! Also, I got a bird nest with a pineapple seed in it. I used that for a long time. Here comes 62 woodcutting for real this time. Alright. Technically chop logs from the blisterwood tree. Cool. Alright, so I'm reevaluating this chunk really quick. I have the grapple and stones agility shortcuts as tasks, and I've had them there since whatever episode I first rode Lumbridge Swamp East. But I just assumed that both of those must give you agility XP because they're like, one of them is really, really high level, and one of them uses a grapple, which is a consumable resource. Like when you use a grapple, there's a chance that the grapple will get destroyed. But anyway, in the wake of rolling the Grand Exchange chunk and being like, oh, thank God, the tunnel there doesn't generate any XP, so it doesn't count as an objective, I wanted to double check which agility shortcuts that I've had added as tasks actually do or don't give XP, and neither of these give XP. So neither of these should really be required as tasks because it's just a convenience thing, and there's no XP gain from it, so it's not actually a thing that I'm going to be able to unlock and do to add as like a thing that I can exhaust from cycle to cycle. So I think that technically means that after this cycle, and then once I kill if there's any critters in this chunk, I can mark it complete. I probably can mark it complete from past cycles, but since I'm not noticing it until now, I'll go ahead and actually clear this chunk out normally here. But after this, I'll mark this with a triple star, and in the future, this will be optional, which means that in practice, I'm going to go ahead and do the copper, the tin, and the shrimp, but I'll probably end up skipping the frogs and the giant rats.
Yo, it's Future Marsted again. You saw this coming because I gave you a heads up about it in the skills rant last episode. But recall that fishing nodes accept multiple tools. The one in Lumberj Swamp accepts both a small net and a fishing rod. I end up ruling that the two different tools count as separate nodes. So for the Lumberj Swamp chunk, I would get to fish them all once with the fishing net and then again with the fishing rod. But the downside of that I have to take with the upside is that I need to be able to fish both of them in order to call the chunk complete. That doesn't come up for a while until I consider the whole multiple tools thing, so I think I call this chunk complete a little bit prematurely. Again, it's a thing that we can fix. I just end up depleting this chunk for a few cycles until it gets corrected. Lots of Future Marsted notes in this one. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. Maybe one day a real RuneScape YouTuber will get turned on to this whole Bonfire Man idea, and they can learn from all of my mistakes instead of repeating them. Anyway, back to the playthrough.
Okay, I think I finished chopping all the mandatory trees in the game world. It's time to get to PVM stuff. Today is Tuesday for me, so there's going to be a patch tomorrow. So I want to, which is going to wipe out my XP tracker, and it's going to wipe out all of my tagged enemies. So I want to make sure, since I'm not going to be able to do all of this before the update, that I try to like clear individual chunks. So I'm going to look through the chunks where I've already killed items or killed enemies, and just make sure those chunks are completely done. About to hit range level 41 here in a second. There it is. I'm going to try to keep doing range as much as possible until I run out of arrows, I guess. Range 42, that's a new max hit for me. Max hit is 6 now, which is pretty good. Yet another mime show. I still haven't gotten a maze random in all this time. And I still haven't gotten a beekeeper random, which I really need, actually. All right, I got to sign off. When I come back, it's probably going to be after the update. Here's, I guess the loot logger will get saved, so I just want to show you the XP tracker because this is going to get wiped out. Pretty typical stuff here, nothing crazy surprising, but the end of episode summary is going to exclude these numbers, so I guess just keep that in mind. All right, I'm back after the update, so I've lost my XP tracker, but looks like my loot tracker's all here and everything's good to go. I'm going to keep working on PVM. No drop from the Lesser Demon once again. Really running out of runes here. Alright, so I'm here in the Lumberj Swamp Cave. Because I'm going to be using the bow instead of magic here, I'm probably actually going to have to hop over this stepping stone repeatedly in order to get my arrows back, at least for the first frog that I fight. The other ones, I think I can safe spot around that stalactite. So we'll see how long it takes to kill it. It might not even be that big of a deal. Hey, I got a successful jump there. Never mind, I was able to kill it without any of the arrows despawning, so that's nice. Makes me feel a little bit better about using this bow and arrow as opposed to using magic for safe spotting enemies like this. I'm about to hit level 43 ranged here. Let's try that again. 43 ranged? There it is. I'm just going to stay on range until I run out of arrows, I guess. I still have more that I can buy from the archery shop in Varrock. But I'm just going to try to burn through everything that I have in my personal bank. About to hit 44 ranged. Yeah. Be nice to get to 50. About to hit 29 thieving. There it is. Nothing. Hit Runecraft 21. I'm working my way through water altar stuff. I think I'm going to save. I only have one air talisman, so I'm going to save it for making smoke runes. Mud runes for this cycle. It's starting to get pretty slow. I should get, I think, to 22. 23 is when we get lava runes, which would be a decent amount of XP, even though I'm only allowed to do it once per cycle. We'll get those next episode, I think. Alright, so I did fire runes. I'm going to do steam runes now. Should get us a level up. Runecraft 22. And I have one air talisman, so I'm going to make smoke runes. I might get another air talisman from killing the goblins in the Stronghold of Security. I haven't done that yet. If I do, I'll go make mist runes. Here are the smoke runes. Just shy. I think if I get an air talisman, we could get lava runes this episode, but don't know that we're going to be that lucky. Well, never mind. I just looked it up, and I guess the goblins in Stronghold of Security don't drop an air talisman. Only the ones outside Lumbridge. So I don't have to kill the ones in the Ham Hideout chunk, but I'd really like to get that Runecraft level. There's 22 extra goblins that I'm allowed to kill, technically, so I'm going to go give them a try really quick. It's a 1 in 128, so the chance of me getting it's pretty low, but it would be really nice to get one. Oh, you can see my 22 goblin kills there at the bottom. I did not get an air talisman. I did get a beginner clue scroll that I can do, so I'm going to try to do that real quick. Oh, I forgot to announce this, but I did complete Lumbridge Swamp East. I can show that here with our frog, big frog, giant frog, and giant rat kills. I went ahead and picked up the tools again as well, and I removed those 2 agility shortcuts since they don't produce XP. So I'm going to go ahead and update this to triple star and say it's done. And going forward, I'm probably going to skip those frogs. I'll still go ahead and mine and fish, obviously, but I'm not going to bother with the trees or the frogs. Next clue scroll step wants me to talk to Hans, so I'm going to take the advantage to do some construction training since I haven't done any of this cycle yet. I think I have to go buy some more planks, though, so I'll take advantage of the fact that I can walk through this area now. Alright, got my stuff together for some construction training. I haven't done any of this cycle yet, so I'm just going to do everything with oak logs to start. About to get a construction level up from building the tool store 1 and 2, and the repair workbench, that's construction 28. Got to go trailblazer rug, a rug, and a suit of armor. Alright, this is the last thing I can do for this trip. The rope bell pull. Next trip I should be able to hit 29 construction. Step 3 of this beginner clue is a Reldo step. Sucks. Pickpocketed all 9 guards, but I'm only going to kill 8 guards, or Alkareed warriors this time because I overkilled by 1 last cycle. This will be number 8. Just hit fishing level 20 because I got 2 anchovies here. I had to click off to make sure I didn't fish a 3rd time. So yeah, fishing 20. I can't do anything with that at the moment. All right, here comes 20 farming, which I don't think unlocks anything special. See here in a second. 20 farming, sweet corn. If we get an allotment, maybe. Slayer 13. These levels are going to come by pretty slowly. I can only kill so many hill giants per cycle, but I can kill all of them. Alright, so I went with a bronze steel alloy there, which is probably not recommended, but it's all that I really had. So I did 10 steel and I guess 18 bronze, using a bunch of bronze items that I had picked up to make it happen. So let's go ahead and hand this in. It's pretty good though. Sword quality 71. Yeah, sure. Narrow heavy. Smithing 49. 1 more level and we can use mithril, which would be really good. Now, unfortunately, I still can't actually mine mithril ore. My only access to mithril at the moment is the Onkos, I think, in the Stronghold of Security. So I might try fighting them again. Maybe with ranged. I think their stats are just too high for it to be worth it, though. We'll see. All right, handing in the sword. I think I'm going to come in just short of 50 smithing. Yeah. We'll definitely get it next episode, though. Very cool. Narrow spiked. Oh, is that the good one? The one I got the custom jig for again? It is. Oh, that's lucky. Cool. Well, I'm out of bars, so I can't do anything else this level, but that's nice. My teleport cooldown's up, and I gotta get out of here anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some construction training here. It looks like I have enough to do 5 more oak planks, and then I guess the rest will just be regular planks. Oak armchair got me to 29 construction. I can now build a large oven, an oak bookcase, and an oak shaving stand. I probably could have brought more oak for that. Prepping to go into the Stronghold of Security, so I'm making stews, cooking 45. I make meat pizzas. Range 45. Very cool. I think I still have several levels to go before I get a max hit. Yeah, 6 more range levels. Oof. But if this is my last goblin, I think I'm going to not bother with goblins in the Stronghold of Security anymore. I presume that they dropped air talismans, but they don't. So if anything, I might kill the ones in the Ham hideout, even though I technically don't have to from every cycle from now on. I think the only interesting drop they have is grapes, but it's like 1 in 128. So yeah, I will probably skip these guys. They've got way too much health to be worth it. Just at 46 range, working on the flesh crawlers now, and I think I'm gonna pop out after I do the. I guess I should do the Death Sepulcher zombie, and maybe I'll try Onkos. I'm running pretty low on ammo though. All right, with only 2 flesh crawlers to grow, this should say 24 because there's one that I killed that didn't drop anything. I am out of arrows. I have 2 bronze arrows left. Ended up getting range to 46 based solely on bronze arrows obtained so far. So I think that's probably an okay time to hang up the hat for now. I can buy like 1,000, I want to say, from the archery shop in Varrock, and there's, you know, iron and steel arrows to work through. But for now, I think I'm just going to go back to melee for a bit. Because I want to save purchasing those until I need them for something like an enemy that I have to save spot. I just banked them, but 14 noted iron ore from flesh crawlers, which is insane. That's like so good. That's half of a sword at the Giant's Foundry. So really lucky drops today. 2 scepter bottoms. Making progress here. Trying to fight some Onko now. I got 1 kill, and it hit me pretty hard. I had to use a stew on it. It can hit for like 7s and 8s, I think. So I don't think I'm going to be able to kill all of them, but maybe I'll kill all the level 75s or something. Just try to get a cheeky mithril ore drop here. Well, I gotta get used to dying again. Just died to an Onko. I'm gonna work back and try to kill it, see if I can finish up some of that room. Dead again. This reminds me why I've been skipping Onkos. I'll finish up this room, but then I'm not even gonna finish up this room. I'll finish up these couple kills. The big problem is getting back and finding which of the Onko I was working on, and like actually being able to aggro them because single combat's annoying. Okay, final Onko kill count before I have to back out. I might try it again with ranged when I have to come back with like steel arrows or something, but it's not going to cut it here. I think I need to bring mage for this zombie, so I'm going to go try to do that, and then we'll call the Stronghold of Security done. I think using Crumble Undead is pretty high value here since I'm getting more damage per Chaos Rune. Unfortunately, I'm not getting more XP per Chaos Rune because this zombie gives basically no XP for casting on it. I'm officially out of Crumble Undead runes. This guy's almost dead though. I'm going to finish him off with Earth Strike here. Alright, let's see what we get here. 50 fishing bait. Bummer. Alright, here comes Slayer 14. Got an easy clue that I can do in Lumbridge. Since I gotta go to Lumbridge anyway, I'll go ahead and do some more construction training here. Starting with an oak bookcase could be a chunk of XP here. Yeah. And then that's all I can do for oak, so I'm just gonna do regular planks from there. All right, here comes 30 construction, which I did bring some money to unlock the new room. Games room, which I've never built before, but I guess there's some things that I can do in there, so that'll be worth it. Not stuff that I can actually use, but things that I can train construction on. Oh, Jesus, games room is 25k. That's so much of my money. I guess I only have to ever build it once, but still, it's brutal. I don't think I'm able to use it this cycle. But I think like the hoop and stick thing is pretty worth building since it uses oak planks. Yeah. Definitely going to have the largest POH I've ever seen. I've only ever used the bare minimum POH that's like 3x3 or 4x4 and uses exactly the rooms that are necessary. So it's going to be kind of interesting to build all these things that most people don't care about. I actually care about that hoop and stick node. That feels cool. All right, so just rebuilt this kitchen table. I think that's going to be it for construction training this cycle. I technically could still use like 9 regular planks and a handful of limestone bricks, but I don't think it's going to be worth the law rune to teleport back. So for now, I'm just going to home teleport and see if we can do this easy clue. I have like a 2% chance to do it. All right, is this going to be doable? East Arduin, nope. It's worth a try. Comes 60 strength, 2 more, and I'll switch to attack and defense and catch them up. Let's go ahead and knock out 40 prayer. It's protect from ranged. Very cool stuff. 3 levels and everything is going to change, because with protect from melee I can flick and kill everything all of a sudden. Alright, I'm over here killing a black demon. I actually saw a PKer, so hopefully nobody harasses me here. See if I get any cool drops. And if I run out of runes in the process. First demon's about to die. I'm going to capture the drop in case it's exciting. It's not. Here's the last one. Let's see what we get. Defense potion. Well, that's interesting, at least. Wouldn't you know, it's another mime show. Nice, I'm strong enough now that I don't have to use ranged or magic on these moss giants. I should have brought some food. I might have to bail out to get some, but I had to leave to restock and come back to finish the last couple moss giants, but done with the Varrock sewers. I just have, I guess I technically want to pickpocket some people in the lumberyard, but other than that we have Varrock Palace, Varrock Square, and South Varrock to do, and then we'll wrap the episode. About to hit points level 56. Yep. Got one more guard I gotta track down that I must have missed somewhere. It's probably the guy over by the gatehouse. So I actually overcorrected on killing dark wizards last episode. I needed to leave 1 not dead. So we're just gonna kill 12 here, and I'm gonna leave this last one not killed. I'm just about done. I have to shear some sheep. God, that's a difficult thing to say. Kill a couple rams, then I'm gonna go try to do this beginner clue scroll. Alright, sheared these sheep. Looks like I'm all done. I gotta head to the wizard's tower to do this clue scroll, assuming I can do it. I'll report back on the status, and then we'll summarize and roll a new chunk. Well, it turns out it's a 3-step clue, but the 3rd step is back at the wizard's tower, so walking back over there. Alright, beginner casket. Let's see what garbage we get today. It's actually a pretty good beginner casket. I can't really do much with it. 25 mind runes is nice, though, because I'm almost out of mind runes, and I have no other way to get them, really. I wish those were raw sardines. I could do Gertrude's cat if they were. I'd start rat catchers. Alright, time to summarize the chunk. Okie doke, so I'm here at the bank. Let's do our usual summary. I'm going to start by just looking at tasks. We'll scroll through them here. Actually, let me uncollapse them. Slow scroll, here we go. Starting to take a really long time to scroll through that whole list. I don't see anything that stands out as a problem on there, though. Loot tracker, slow scroll, here we go. Yep. XP, remember this isn't the total XP for the cycle because I had to patch hit in the middle of it. So you can go back and see what that was and add them together. But pretty decent. Got a lot of ranged XP this time around. A decent amount of strength XP. I think we're going to chart on the non-Iron Man high scores soon for strength after all this time. Getting close to 50 smithing. We'll get that next episode. Then we can do mithril bars, which will be nice at the Giant's Foundry. I'll also be able to use mithril equipment. So I think there's a handful of shops that I could try to buy out in favor of doing that. So we'll likely see that soon here. Construction matters at 45, which is a long way off. 35, we can get a glass blowing pipe from it in case I get access to other glass materials before then, but it's not looking like that's going to be the case at the moment. Runecraft is slow, but we need to get lava runes next episode. That'll speed things up a little bit. 35 is the big number that we really need for Runecraft. We still got a ways to go to level 2 or level 5 agility. Supplies used. That's for everything. Trying to get my rune usage down. That's actually kind of good to see. I'm going to try to start using bolts now because I do have a bunch of bronze bolts. Next episode, I might try to make a steel crossbow so I can use those as efficiently as possible. Random events. Didn't really get too much in terms of XP randoms here. I get the Drunken Dwarf a lot, which is kind of frustrating. Still haven't gotten a single maze random. That would be so nice to have it. I think that's all to show you plugin wise. Let's take a look at the bank. All right, so here's the bank. Limestone, I should just go ahead and chisel those into limestone bricks in the future, but we got some anti-poison, cup of tea, yellow cape, which I'm going to start using as the main cape that I have equipped all the time. 10 bronze javelins, a zombie mask, an emerald ring, a defense potion, and I went ahead and chiseled all of my extra skull scepter pieces into fragments, so I'll go ahead and sort those real fast. All right, sorted. Lost a bunch of money, unfortunately, to having to build that games room, and I think there's another, the combat room is also 25k, so I'm going to be pretty poor since I don't get a lot of money from the Giant's Foundry every cycle. But here's the full bank. Slow scroll. I'm pretty good, I would say. I think that's everything to show you. I guess playtime, 8 days, 10 hours, and I should have turned this on a second ago. Live split timer, 15 hours and 49 minutes, which actually isn't too bad compared to the last chunk. It only took an extra 19 minutes. Part of that's skipping a lot of things, so it's getting better, but I'm thinking 15 hours is going to be the floor, unless if we really complete some difficult chunks and save a bunch of time. I am in the future going to start cutting down on some of the things we kill, namely in the Stronghold of Security. I don't think I'm going to bother with the goblins or the wolves anymore. I might even skip the rats, although it seems nice to have a bunch of 116 enemies that drop bones and only have 2 hit points each, so it seems like a lot of good prayer XP. But let's go ahead and roll the new chunk. Okay, here we are on the chunk map. I've done some cleanup here. I'm going to zoom in a second because, you know, we just got these things over here. We can technically get to Castle Wars via the Grand Exchange, and that's a permanent teleport we can always do. We can get to the Isle of Souls via Edgeville, and we can get to the Ruins of Unka via Al-Kharid. Now, I've changed some of the tile markers here. I looked at each of these chunks, and if the chunk only has content that we've seen before, for example, this ditch has dead trees, and thugs, which we've fought and cut before, then if we were to roll this chunk, we wouldn't have to light a bonfire there and be able to just go there, do it, and then roll another chunk right away. So anytime you see that dice icon, it means that that's what's going on with that chunk. For example, the North Dig Site chunk technically is involved in quests, but it doesn't start the quest like the Exam Center does. So everything else that's here are just trees that we've chopped before, and there's no enemies or anything like that. So if we were to roll that, we'd go in and chop the trees and then just roll another chunk right away. But I think I really want this chunk as much as it would suck otherwise, just because we can finally do Enter the Abyss, which is amazing. Enter the Abyss would let us start doing the Runecraft minigame. It's required for What Lies Below. I really want to get that chunk to get it over with, even though it's mostly going to be pretty boring after completing that mini quest. Second most wanted continues to be Ruins of Unka. I would love to roll Isle of Souls. There's all kinds of really cool stuff there. And I would be kind of happy to roll the Castle Wars lobby just because it lets us expand from somewhere maybe you haven't seen a lot of chunk accounts expand to. Yeah, let's go ahead and pick the chunk here. Let's see what happens. No Drainer Manor, please. That is my nightmare. We finally get the stupid cow chunk. After all this time, man, I kind of hate my chunk borders. Like, I was really hoping to really start going off in a specific direction, but it really seems like this chunk picker wants us to kind of have one big contiguous space. I guess it being contiguous is nice. Well, this means we can finally do the south part of the River Lum, which we haven't been able to do for a really long time. We get way more cows, which is good for crafting XP. Let's see, farmers, that's good. More chances to get the secateurs, which I'll use to plant those 2 acorns. 51 goblins, Jesus Christ. We need to make sure this isn't a reroll. I don't think it is a reroll. Like, we've killed chickens, cows, cow calves, ducks, farmers, goblins, rams. We never picked onions before. So yeah, I don't think I'm allowed a reroll with this chunk. But now if we get another chunk that the only new thing is onions, it won't be new anymore. And we should be able to do sheep shearer when we get there. So yeah, I'm glad to have this one. It'll be nice to not have to wait for the stupid sheep to wander out of their corner anymore. It'll be nice to get sheep shearer out of the way. It's I would say it makes it more likely for us to roll Drainer Village north, but it actually doesn't affect that at all. Now that we can do the south part of the River Lum, though, that changes a few things. We can get into the Sour Hog Cave, although I think we have to progress the quest to be able to do anything in there. But it gets us that much closer to actually being able to do Portion of Interest. So yeah, I'll take it. Not the best roll. I'm not super excited about it, but I'm not mad about it. We'll see if we end up rolling 11 and 17 and just like completely fill in this rectangular area. We'll see you next time. Bye.